You've been lied to. They told you women want muscles, money, or sweet words. But the truth, female desire doesn't follow logic. It follows something far deeper. And once you know these 5 rules, you'll stop chasing and start attracting. Let's begin. Desire dies in certainty. A woman's desire doesn't live in, "I've got him." It lives in, "I think I've got him, but I'm not sure yet." The truth is, the moment she feels she fully owns your attention, your heart, your mind, the fire starts to fade. Not because she's a bad person, not because she's playing games, but because certainty kills mystery. And mystery is the oxygen of desire. When a man gives himself away too soon, always texting first, always explaining himself, always showing how much he needs her, she feels safe but not excited. She feels cared for but not attracted. Because a woman's deepest desire isn't for what's easy, it's for what feels earned. When she has to wonder, when she questions, does he feel the same? That's when her heart races. That's when desire grows. And here's the secret most men never learn. You don't create this by playing hard to get. You create it by living your life with purpose, by not handing over your heart like it's cheap, by letting her feel the pull of your presence without chasing. Certainty gives comfort, but tension gives desire. And the man who balances both, the one who gives her moments of closeness, but never lets her fully predict him, that's the man she can't get off her mind. She doesn't want a robot. She wants a man who leads himself. Most men think they have 2 options with women: be soft, overly agreeable, and people-pleasing, or be cold, distant, and emotionally dead inside. Both lose. Why? Because she doesn't want a robot who just reacts to her every move. And she definitely doesn't want a puppet who needs her permission to lead. What a woman truly desires is a man who knows his path. A man who makes decisions without needing constant approval. A man who leads himself first before trying to lead her. The man who calmly says, "I've got this." The man who walks with quiet confidence, even when she tests him. That man awakens her respect and her desire. Because when you lead yourself, you show her she's safe to relax. She can trust you. She doesn't have to carry the weight of leading everything. It's not about controlling her. It's about controlling yourself, your emotions, your reactions, your choices. When you move with calm direction, when you don't flinch every time she pulls away or gets emotional, when you don't ask her how to be a man, she feels drawn in. She craves a man who leads his own world, because then she feels invited into a story bigger than just her feelings. That's not arrogance. That's masculine leadership. And when you master that, you stop begging for attention and start commanding respect. Attention is cheap. Presence is priceless. These days, every guy thinks giving attention means giving value. They flood her phone with messages. They double text. They comment on every post. They chase. But here's the truth. Any man can give attention. Any man can send a text. Any man can give likes, compliments, and sweet words. That costs nothing. And when something costs nothing, it means nothing. But presence is rare. Presence can't be faked. It's when you walk into a room and your calm energy changes the air. It's when you look at her not with needy eyes, but with still, steady confidence. You don't need to say much. You don't need to perform. Your calm, focused presence speaks louder than 100 compliments, because presence isn't about being around her. It's about standing with her grounded, centered, real. When a woman feels your true presence, She softens. She leans in. She starts craving your attention because now it means something. Presence is the difference between a man who is always available and a man whose attention feels like a gift. The man who sits quietly, listens with full attention, and holds his ground in silence. He makes her feel seen in a way she's never felt before. Remember, attention is everywhere. Presence is unforgettable. And when you master presence, you won't need to chase. She'll chase the feeling you give her, even when you say nothing. She wants to feel chosen, not chased. Most men think the more they chase, the more she'll like them. So they overgive, overtext, overpromise, and they call it love. But to her, it doesn't feel like love. It feels like desperation. Because a woman doesn't want to be overwhelmed by a man's need. She wants to feel desired by a man who doesn't need her to feel whole. She doesn't want to be the center of your world after one date. She wants to feel like you have a world, and you're inviting her into it by choice. The man who chases her too fast sends one message: I've already decided you're the prize, even before I know who you really are. And that kills the attraction, because now she feels more like a trophy, and less like a person being chosen with intention. But the man who observes, the man who waits, the man who says with his energy, I'm watching, I'm curious, I'm not convinced yet. That man, he drives her crazy. Why? Because now she leans in. Now she wants to show him who she really is. Now she wonders, does he like me yet? What is he thinking? And that uncertainty, that earned approval, that's where her desire is born. She doesn't want to feel like you're chasing her out of loneliness. She wants to feel like you chose her out of standards, that she passed your quiet tests, that she met your depth. When she feels chosen, she feels honored. When she feels chased, she feels pressured. So stop throwing your heart at every pretty face. Slow down. Watch her. See her character. Decide. And when you choose, let her feel it. That moment when a grounded man chooses her with calm intention is more seductive than 1,000 flowers. She craves the man who can handle her silence. Most men panic when she pulls away, when she goes quiet. When the energy shifts, they rush in. They over-explain. They beg for reassurance. They try to fix what isn't even broken yet. But here's the truth most men don't know. Her silence is a test. Not a game. Not manipulation. But a question. Can you hold your ground when I lose mine? She doesn't want a man who crumbles every time she goes distant. She wants a man who stays steady even when she isn't. Because inside that silence, she's watching, she's feeling, she's listening to how you respond. Do you get insecure? Do you chase harder? Do you emotionally collapse? Or do you remain calm? Do you trust your presence enough to let her feel your absence? When you can hold your center during her silence, she feels safe. Because now she knows you're not emotionally fragile. You're not controlled by her mood swings. You don't fall apart just because she needs space. That emotional stability, that quiet strength, it's rare. It's masculine. And it turns her on more than you can imagine. The truth is, most women have been surrounded by men who react too much, who push when she pulls, who fear the pause. But the man who stays still, the man who doesn't chase the silence, he becomes unforgettable, because now she misses you, not because you flooded her with energy, but because you didn't. You let her feel the gap, and in that gap, her desire grows. The man who handles her silence without needing to fix it is the man she dreams about when it's quiet. So don't fear her silence. Let it work in your favor. Your calmness is not weakness. It's the proof that you're a man she can trust, even when she can't trust her own emotions. Now you know the truth. Desire isn't about chasing. It's not about begging. And it's definitely not about proving your worth. It's about being a man she feels, not just sees. It's about moving with quiet confidence, not noise, not need, but stillness, direction, presence. Because the man who masters these 5 rules stops living on edge wondering, why did she stop texting? What did I do wrong? And starts hearing, I can't stop thinking about you. You feel different from every other guy. Not because he played games, but because he led himself first, and she followed not out of pressure, but out of pure desire. Every woman may not say it out loud, but deep down, she's waiting for a man who can stand still while her emotions storm. A man who doesn't need to prove anything, because his energy already speaks. So if you're tired of chasing, if you're done with confusion, then become the man who no longer needs her to choose him, because he's finally chosen himself. That's not arrogance. That's power. That's masculine peace. And when she feels it, she leans in, she softens, she melts. Not because you forced her, but because your presence gave her permission to let go. Desire is not something you chase. It's something you draw in. When you become grounded, calm, and unapologetically you, if you've ever made her feel something, not with your words, but with your silence, comment below. She felt my calm. Because that calm, that energy, that's the rare thing women remember. Long after the compliments fade. Drop that line if you're done chasing, if you're ready to lead instead of please, if you're ready to move with purpose, not permission. Like this video if you're done being predictable, and you're ready to become the man she dreams about. Not because you begged for her attention, but because you pulled her in without trying. Subscribe if you're ready to master the real rules of attraction, not the fake confidence, not the TikTok tricks, but the ancient grounded masculinity that speaks before you say a word. And share this with another man who's giving too much too soon. Remind him, female desire doesn't live in performance. It lives in presence, in energy, in control. This isn't a game. This is a shift in who you are. And it starts now.